The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. The contrary opinion will say no. The ayes have it. The bill is set down for third reading forthwith. The Honourable Dr Megan Clark.
I move that the Christchurch Cathedral Reinstatement Bill be now read a third time. I would like to acknowledge the organisations and members of the public who took the opportunity to make submissions to the Environment Committee, and for those who did take the time to appear before that committee in both Christchurch and Wellington, especially with such a truncated timeframe. I'd also like to thank the chair of that committee, Deborah Russell, and members of the Environment Committee for their consideration of this bill. I do also want to acknowledge what an extraordinary piece of legislation this is. This is a bill that confers on a minister extraordinary powers, but with a good balance of checks and balance on those extraordinary powers. I'd also like to take the time to acknowledge the officials who have worked so hard in getting this legislation to the House, to getting this to us, getting this bill passed by Christmas so that Christchurch can have the hope that the centre of our city can start regenerating, that that building that sits at the heart of our city as we enter into this Christmas period, people in Canterbury can have faith that our city is on the road forward, that we are marching towards having regeneration and that there is a positive future for us. We are committed to providing an enabling environment to facilitate the reinstatement of this most significant of Christchurch buildings. This commitment is crucial for the people of Christchurch, nearby businesses and landowners, investors in the city, and of course for the potential donors to the reinstatement project itself. And I'd like to reiterate that, the potential donors to the reinstatement project itself. Through this legislation, we are ensuring that certainty about the delivery of the cathedral can be provided, and that is critical for our city. We are recognising the cathedral's contribution to the cultural, social and economic well-being of our city. It's important to Christchurch's regeneration and, importantly, its heritage value. This will support the regeneration not only of Cathedral Square, but the wider central city. But I want to take a moment to discuss the work that is occurring alongside this bill to facilitate the reinstatement. This legislation is a critical building block in getting our cathedral reinstated, but there are others that we also need to consider. The Christchurch City Council yesterday, of course, made the vital decision to also fund this project, and I would like to congratulate the Council on coming to that conclusion. But as set out in the offer of support, I am in the process of establishing a trust which will raise funds for the reinstatement and enter into a joint venture with the church property trustees, who are the owners of the cathedral, to undertake the delivery of this cathedral project. In November, I appointed Mr Peter Guthrie as the chair of the Trust, and I hope to make further appointment announcements prior to Christmas. We are intent on getting the momentum needed to make sure that our cathedral can be reinstated. The bill and the establishment of the Trust are another step forward on this road to reinstatement. But there are many more that we need to take. Reinstating the cathedral is a task that will take time. Fundraising for the cathedral will be a significant undertaking, and I am confident that the people of Christchurch, New Zealand and the world will come together to support this reinstatement. I commend this bill to the House.
Point of order, the Honourable Grant Robertson.
Madam Speaker, I seek leave of the House to correct an answer I